So the need is really for all of us here to get involved with the school systems and get them back to ground zero. Because the strength of America, like I said, does rely on manufacturing. Doesn't rely on actors. Doesn't rely on basketball players or rock and roll singers. But yet, those people are put on a pedestal. You know, if all the entertainers, sports stars, rock and roll people disappeared tomorrow, it'd be kind of sad. But the rest of the country will go on just fine. I mean, you can entertain yourselves with sock puppets. You know, you can make a banjo out of a cigar box and some elastic bands and a broom handle. But if the people that work in your factories decide not to show up for one day, if the trucks that go up and down the highways decide to pull over to the side of the road for a day or two, we grind to a halt. So statistically, 6 to 10 years from now, because the average age of a worker is 55, 56 years old, 6 to 10 years, we will grind to a halt. That's a hard, cold fact. Because everybody assumes that someone else is doing it. That someone will fix it. Someone will fix it. I mean, right now, the people that I've talked to nationwide, the people that supply the electricity from the Grand Coulee Dam on the out west there, they don't know where the people are going to come from to work there to repair the turbines that generate electricity. You know, just recently you had these water mains in Boston breaking. Same thing in Los Angeles, same thing in Atlanta. Those water systems are over 100 years old. Of course they're going to break. But we forgot. Gee, we told all the kids they got to go to college. That if you get your hands dirty, somehow you're stupid. And we tell that to the nation in the media. That's our fault. The news media, the broadcast media. You know, because anytime you see someone coming in with a toolbox, they're depicted as being stupid, or sub-intelligent, or drunk, or they're cheating you. So why would a kid growing up seeing that depiction want to be that? I wouldn't, but I grew up in a different era. You know, I grew up in an area in Bridgeport, Connecticut, like I said, that all the garage doors were open on Saturdays. Everybody had a hobby. Woodworking, electronics, ham radio operation, auto mechanics. Everybody was functioning at something. And that's what brought us to the dance. It's, you know, called the Judeo-Christian ethic. The Protestant work ethic. You don't have to be Protestant to follow it, but that's what brought us here. You get up in the morning, put your hand to something useful, and be responsible for yourself and your family. That's it. That's the rule. But we've changed the rule over the years. You know, the standard's gotten lower, and we'd get away a little. Get away with this, and get away with that. I was in a supermarket recently. I go down to Florida from time to time and go scare the fish, and I was standing in a supermarket. The guy at the cash register, he's telling the bagger, the guy bagging it, the groceries. He said, "Yeah," he says, "I'm going to retire when I'm 40." And I said, "That's great. Wow, what'd you do? Was real estate? Portfolio? Wow, how'd you manage that?" He says, "I'm just going to quit and the government's going to take care of me." That's his American dream. What happened? What happened to that getting up in the morning, put your hand to something useful? Well, I always try to reverse engineer, like, boy, that's a problem. Where did this happen? I'd say Woodstock. I was there. Okay? I kind of feel like it's all my fault, and I want to apologize to everybody right now. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. The Woodstock Festival, even when I was there, I was driving a tractor, and like I said, I was a carpenter, so I helped build the stage. But I'm there. I'm here there first. I'm watching it all. Well, it starts raining. Everything goes muddy. People are slipping and sliding. They're getting hurt. They don't have food. There's no medical care. There's no porta potties. Then all of a sudden, you hear blah, 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 blah. Over a hill come National Guard helicopters. Porta potties, food, medical care. If it wasn't for the National Guard, Woodstock would have been another Donner Party. I was there. You know, and my hair was long, my beard was like the same stupid thing. But when you think about it, that was the beginning of the loss of common sense for the entire nation. Now it's those people who are in charge of the educational system, right? Because it's more about feelings now than it is common sense and doing it and achieving something. It's all, oh, how do you feel about this? How you feeling, Jeremy? Who cares? You know, you go out for a Little League team, right? Thanks. Well, when I tried out for Little League, it was, all right, Ratzenberger, you stink. Come on, get out of here. Well, I had a choice. Do I go home and feel sorry for myself, or do I buck up, learn how to play baseball, try out again, and then make the team, which is what I did. But now, you show up, 7, 8-year-old kid, you're guaranteed a uniform, you're guaranteed to play, and you get a trophy. For what? You haven't done anything. But you get a trophy because we don't want to hurt their feelings. And guess what? That came from Woodstock. Because they're in charge now. They're in charge of the legal system. In charge of the government. These are all hippies in suits. But that is kind of the idea that it's better to feel good. So what we've done is we've stolen from children. Again, these are the future employees that you're going to have, that you want. We've stolen that common sense from them, certainly. But because we just give them everything, and because they don't have to try out, they don't have to really achieve, we've stolen from them the moment in life at 7, 8 years old where they can face an emotional crisis, where they can develop the tools, the emotional tools, to develop an emotional, to overcome an emotional crisis. So now they wait till they're 23, 24 and out of college. I mean, that's why so many kids are living at home now. Because that's the real world out there. Oh my gosh, why didn't you tell me? Well, we could have told you when you were 8 years old, but the people from Woodstock were in charge. Nothing I could do. I tried my best. But it's true. I mean, even at Woodstock, my favorite stories is the National Guard came in, pretty much saved everybody. Then about 3 years ago, I think it was Hillary Clinton suggested there should be a statue there to commemorate the event. And my suggestion was, yeah, it should be a statue of a National Guardsman feeding a crying hippie. Like that. Because that's the truth. The press doesn't print that because it's even the music. You know, picture yourself in a boat down the river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. Okay. Question. Who built the boat? So, common sense got turned upside down. And that's what we're faced with now. Because it would be common sense to have vocational training at 7, 8 years old. Because that's when you want to capture their imaginations. 7, 8 years old, and give them a taste of carpentry and metal bending and, you know, putting some wires together and sending electricity from there way over to there and have something happen. That's also the beginning of physics, algebra, certainly basic math. There's a fellow who's head of he's manufacturing in one of the big airplane companies, and he said that they had to set up a special program, an 8-week program, with kids coming out of high school, just to show them what tools are and how to use them. They used to come out already there because of vocational training in schools. The same thing goes for, what was it called? Home economics. Same thing, but again, because the Woodstock infiltration and politically correct, oh, no, we don't want women in the kitchen. No, that just enslaves women. Well, guess what? It also teaches people how to care for babies, teaches them about bacteria, hygiene, how to cook. You know, I'm actually a pretty good cook, by the way. I got a great recipe for prime rib if anybody wants afterwards. Delectable. So in my travels, I'm seeing this all over the country, talking to CEOs as I'm doing my show Made in America. And I say, well, how did this happen? I mean, I only left the country for 10 years and it really got screwed up. I should have stayed. I probably could have mitigated it some way, and that's what I discovered, is that because all this political correctness is seeped into the educational system, we don't want anybody to hurt themselves. Oh, they might cut their fingers in the saw, and then the parent is going to say, oh, well, I won the lottery. I can sue the school system because my kid cut his finger. Well, I cut my finger in shop class. My father laughed at me. He said, well, keep your finger away from the saw, you dumbbell. Well, okay, I just learned something. I should go, oh, well, I'm going to sue the school. So all that, again, that seeped into our culture. I mean, one CEO told me he hired a kid just out of college. What are they, 23, 24 years old, come out of college? Worked for 3 days, then he had to fire the kid on the fourth day. I said, so why'd you fire the kid? He said he couldn't work with anyone. He wouldn't take any direction. He had his way. He was basically obnoxious. He wanted the corner office with the windows, like within a month. Wanted to be vice president, so they fired him. On the fourth day, the kid comes back with his mother. True story. It says, the mother says to the CEO of the company, he says, you have to apologize to my son because you hurt his self-esteem. But that's nationwide.